Once you really kind of get in on that thing, you own it and you become the best at it, plenty of the money will follow. Hey, welcome back. Have you ever thought about making a little bit extra money? If so, this video is for you. In this video, we're going to be talking about the best way to make some extra money and how to beat the market. Let's get into it. Hey, if we're just meeting for the first time, my name is Gabriel Walters and I'm a certified financial planner. I'm also the founder and owner of Steadyworth, and I make financial planning videos every week to help people just like you take charge of their financial future and live a life that they're excited about today. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about how to grow your income and trading and some of that stuff. So I'm just going to hop right into it. So as I'm helping clients, walking them through the Take Charge financial planning framework or the financial planning pyramid, we're constantly talking about their income, and one thing that we get into is how to grow their income, how to make more money, because everybody thinks like, hey, if I could just make a couple $1,000s, a month, sometimes even a year, it'll make everything better. I mean, I know I've definitely felt that before, but what I always try to get people to do is look at the big picture. What is it that you are trying to accomplish? And is it your goal? And so sometimes I'll talk to people and they're like, well, hey, what if I could day trade, a little bit on the side, and maybe that could bring in some more money. And so then they ask questions about beating the market. And so my thought process about beating the market, the best is, when you think about the stock market, it's not that it's gambling, but when you're trading, you are trading and you're trying to basically find something, find an inefficiency and capitalize on that inefficiency in the market. So you're trying to find something, you're using information that, or you're taking the information that you're getting and you're trying to, basically place a bet against which way the market's going to go, whether it's up or down, and use that to make some money. And one thing about trading is that the odds are always in favor of the house. It's like some people do a really great job of doing it, but most people do not. Most traders do not make a lot of money. And so, when I think about it, it's like, the best way to beat the market is to start your own game. And what I mean by that is to add something to the market that the market doesn't already have. And so then the market has to react to you instead of you reacting to the market. What am I talking about here? What I'm talking about is looking at the market, looking at the current landscape of what things are needed right now in the economy, and then bringing something to it. A high level example of this would be somebody like Jeff Bezos. In mid-90s, he said, okay, the internet's growing, sales on the internet, e-commerce are eventually going to take off. I think I'm going to start book sales on the internet. So he starts Amazon, and as you know, because Amazon's everywhere, then it goes to book sales, DVD sales, CD sales. Then it is basically now they sell everything. But basically that was him seeing where the market was at and then building his own game and adding that into the market. Same thing with Elon Musk, seeing that EV vehicles would eventually take off. And so, so he brings Tesla to market at a time when a demand for electric vehicles actually wasn't very high. And so, but he brings something new to the market, and now the market was having to react to him and to what Tesla is doing instead of him reacting to the market. If you even think about like Mark Zuckerberg with Facebook. I mean, Facebook, of course, was not the first social media platform, but the way they set it up and the way they did it and the way they grew was a bit different from each one else. And then as they got bigger, you've seen what they've done. They started buying out other platforms like Instagram and WhatsApp so that they could basically build a monopoly there. And, Facebook or Meta really owns kind of like the social space on the internet. And so my thought, you don't have to have a company as big as them, as big as, Facebook, Instagram, or Tesla to come and really build your own game. And so, you could be seeing something that's going on in your city or something that's going on in a company, and you're like, hey, I see what's going on there. This would make that thing better. This would be a way that I could bring something different to the market, and then they would be able to react to you, to what you're bringing. So, and I know that this isn't like just a set and play, like, hey, you can think about this today and institute it tomorrow. But, some people are like, well, how do I build my own game? And one thing I say is, like, if you really want to figure out how to build your own game, if you think about Elon Musk, if you think about Jeff Bezos, if you think about Mark Zuckerberg, a lot lot of these people, they feel like what they're working on is part of their vision, is part of their mission, is part of their purpose. And so what I would say is spend some time pursuing purpose. When I was thinking about, I feel that way even about Steadyworth. When I was thinking about, hey, when I was in my late 20s and I was like, what do I want to do for the next 30, 40 years of my life? If I could do anything, and I really wanted to be focused in on that, I had my Uncle Bill. He said, spend some time doing some introspection into like what you're really interested in. Spend some time doing some reflection, and then dig deep into those things and then think about it. And one thing I kept coming back to is I was always interested in the stock market. I was always interested in financial planning, but I was also always interested in helping people, serving, teaching, stuff like that. And so that got me into, becoming a certified financial planner and working as a financial advisor. And then that, kind of naturally graduated to Steadyworth, because for those of you guys who don't know, my initial education background was actually in theology. So I went to school to be a pastor, and I went to school. So I actually was going to be a youth pastor. Then I worked in nonprofit. Then I just was like, hey, I don't really like doing that on the 9 to 5, even though I still serve at my church. And so I was like, I really want to do finance on the 9 to 5. But now, having that background and working in finance, I get to, merge two passions, which is still helping others and still working in financial markets. So I look at what I'm doing as purpose, but in the same way, you can look at, you can find that thing to look at what you do as purpose. And so one time somebody explained it to me. They said, hey, think about that thing that if somebody woke you up, and I know this sounds crazy, but think about that thing that if somebody woke you up at 2 a.m, you could do from 2 to 3 and be back to sleep by 3:30, no problem. And so if you haven't figured that out, keep trying some stuff. But that is how you really beat the market, is that you come up with your own game and you build your own play space. Because once you create something new, then the market is reacting to you and you're not reacting to the market anymore. If you want to read a good read on how to create a category, this book right here, Play Bigger, I read that earlier this year, and it is an excellent book about bringing new things to the market. Also, the book by Donald Miller, which you've heard me refer to before, called Story Brand, is an excellent way to kind of build, use as a framework to kind of build out your idea. So be thinking about what are the things that you can bring to the market so that you can set the own rules and that you can dominate. And then once you connect all of this stuff to purpose, you won't be worried about having a couple extra $1,000 or a couple extra $100 a month or even a year, because once you connect it to something you're really passionate about, that's where all the money's going to flow from. Once you really kind of get in on that thing, you own it and you become the best at it, plenty of the money will follow, and you won't be worried about trying to trade a few stocks here or trade a few stocks there. So lastly, if we go back to our example of Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Mark Zuckerberg, one thing that they all have in common as well is that they are some of the wealthiest people in the world. And they created that wealth by building their own game and just from their thoughts. They literally took a thought and created it, and it created wealth. And so I wanted to just bring back to one other book recommendation, which is Think and Grow Rich. And this book really talks about how do you take thoughts from your mind and you put action behind them, and how you create wealth. And some of the other wealthy people just throughout time who've done it, the Carnegies and the person who created Coca-Cola. And just, this book is listed has more examples listed than what I can run up through in this video. But just think about it. The people who have brought new things to the market are also the wealthiest people. Think about the wealthiest people, other wealthy names. They are business owners. They are business owners, and they're bringing something to the market that the market hasn't seen before, and they're creating wealth. You can do the same. Let's go. So if you agree with this or if you disagree, let me know down in the comments. If you've been pursuing passion, or if you have an idea of what you want to bring to the market, let me know down in the comments. Also, if you would like to book some time with me, feel free to go to steadyworth.com and book a free call with me. I answer financial planning questions for free. If you have a question, leave it down in the comments. Also, if you got some value out of this video, can you do me a favor? Give it a thumbs up. Go ahead and like it, subscribe, and maybe even share it with a friend if you know somebody else who could use this type of content. Thanks for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great day. Let's plan for success.